I'd like to call the meeting to order. As is usually the case, I'd like to ask the people at the table identify themselves for the camera.
Zelda Commissioner, Executive Director.
Reg Mtg, Hiscock and Barclay.
Dave Scarmer.
Ken Stevens.
Mike Carroll. Kurt Coates.
Cherry Brown.
John Carroll Smith.
Tom Gillen.
Linda Dean, Shannon Offices.
Mike Shannon.
And Terry Hamill. You have the agenda, but we want to adjust the agenda, change it. We have a need to go into executive session. There'll be another executive session later, but we're going to begin the meeting with executive session. So I'd like to ask for a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of proposed pending or current litigation.
So moved.
All right. You gotta get the pencil out there. Mr. Carroll and Mr. Coates? Mr. Brown. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous, we move to executive session. You already told the guest, you mentioned the guest?
Yeah, they're aware. Yeah, they're aware.
We're leaving.
I mean, you guys don't have anything, well, we'll come and get over.
Yeah. This should not take too long. You'd rather do it now than later.
Absolutely.
We'll take by the hour, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, wait,
What's
check
that?
back out.
Okay, we're,
I had to take my coat off, I was getting warm.
we resume regular session. Motion's in order for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Carol. Oates. Any questions before I call it out on the consent agenda?
Couple of questions.
It wouldn't be a meeting.
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
a question.
Stay on top of things.
Couple of questions, couple of attaboys. CNS Engineering,
Yes,
accounts payable.
There's still an outstanding amount. The outstanding amount is 30, hold on, let me just get the exact number.
38,575.
38,575. Yeah, that's to do with the work that was agreed upon by the previous director. And it's to do with the USGS, which is the property across the street. It's basically a dispute. And there is,
So the aging on 32,461.15 is the only outstanding?
right, yeah. It's basically accounts payable. It's due, there's no penalties against it, we're fine. I mean, it's money coming out, so it's a good thing. They're not happy about it, but there were some contracts made that I wasn't aware of, and unless you all authorize me to go down to Mississippi and
No.
to get it from him, I can go, get it from the previous director, but I didn't get into that contract.
Accounts receivable, Trafigura,
Trafigura and Goldman, we finally reached a negotiating point. They were seeking an incentive for throughput. We finally reached their agreement. As a matter of fact, it was yesterday, more or less. We finally finalized a number. So Trafigura will be paying up.
okay.
And
So a lot of those will be wiped out next
Yes.
month? How about Bay Bridge, Texas LLC?
Baby Texas LLCs that ship out there.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's moving May 3rd, May 2nd, and they owe us $22,000. Shipping, moving, always I got the money.
May 2nd?
And, right, they're arguing about some of the work we performed by the ILA. They don't like the numbers that we gave them. And it's too bad, we disclose the numbers, they're gonna pay them, or the ship is not moving.
I'm sure we'll all defer to your negotiation
Oh, yeah,
skills.
yeah, the ship is not moving.
Okay.
Negotiation.
There's no negotiation to it. If you gotta weld it to the dock, there's no time.
Well, I mean, I mean, May, the first week of May is gonna be a busy place, it's gonna be a very busy place here. We
Okay.
wanted to move, because May 8th and May 9th, we have an aluminum barge coming down. But we have alternate plans, and we're gonna make sure we get paid before this, I mean, we disclosed all our fees, we
We're gonna put
disclosed
the
all our
barges.
work. And now
Okay.
they don't like it, it's too bad.
We're gonna put the barges.
Balance sheet, the total fixed assets, attaboy.
Right?
Total long-term liabilities, another attaboy on that one. I see North American Salt, did they go someplace else this winter?
North American Salt, didn't have product here this winter, they lost the New York State contract.
Oh, they did?
But they still paid some fees, and they still paid some rights to be here. Everything that we do in business, it's pennies do matter. Every contract we negotiate, cents do matter. In that instance, I tried to substitute that salt from South America. I tried even some African salt. It just did not make sense.
Okay,
And frankly, North American Salt wasn't the benefactor of the New York State contract. I spoke to North American Salt a couple of days ago, and now it's just a matter of us having a lot of business and not enough space. So we're gonna have to, I mean, I never turn away business. I mean, I'll look at anything. But while they may wanna bring salt in June, July, we may be plenty busy. So chances are, even this year, we may or may not have salt. Although I'm gonna try to do something on the other side.
do you think maybe, even if they don't get the New York State contract, you could interest them in putting some salt here just as sale for private industry or private?
Yeah, but unfortunately, they don't do that. They have, before somebody commits to $80,000 to $90,000
They gotta
of
have a
salt,
committed
they have to have a
contract.
contract. I
Okay,
mean, it's a huge thing, it's a huge liability, and then it's a matter of us getting costs out, you know.
well, it was only 120,000, but I thought maybe,
No,
you know.
no, we are gonna substitute something which is a lot greater than that, so. it's-
Let me make one other point. We didn't fare as poorly as Ogdenburg. Ogdenburg, #1 material on their site is salt.
And they lost 300,000.
Okay.
But that's here and there, that's not our issue, that's their issue.
I mean, that salt, that failure of the contract haven't hurt everybody.
There's several things on the income statement, but I'm not gonna bother to get into it. That's all, Terry, thank you.
I mean, I do want to tell you, I mean, we've been quite diligent with the staff, and the numbers are coming in. But people are very cautious. I mean, people want deals,
Okay.
and people want volume deals, and that's something we're going to talk to some folks later on. There are incentives.
Will we be expanding the novellas?
Yeah, we're talking to somebody, you know, part of my report, I'll tell you everything in the notes.
Okay.
The one other point I wanted to make is, these data represent the end of the fiscal year,
Yes.
and our last 2 years were our highest 2 years in history for gross income, and we're $500,000 above that highest number in the past. Our gross income this year was $4.534 billion. And that was because it's so much more business, and all the ILA guys who are here should be congratulated for handling all that business that came through this court. Their work,
Good job, guys.
their work is up, and all the court has been busier than ever, and it's gonna get busier still in the next few years. And that's a 12.5% increase over last year, just in gross income. And, there are about $300,000 still out in accounts receivable.
Keep it up, we'll double everything by 6 years.
This fiscal year as well.
Okay, thank you.
Motion is made and the questions have been answered. All in favor of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimously approved. Gets us to reports. First report is Executive Director and the Administrative Service report. Exhibit C.
I do want to tell you that we've been busy acquiring certain equipment. There's a whole bunch of equipment that we have acquired. We're bidding, we actually acquired another piece of equipment today. There's going to be a training session on these top-end loaders this coming Saturday. And we're doing it in anticipation of some summer work and potential negotiation that I'm taking on with some of the European interests. We have our second 988. Today we bid on another one, so we have 3 988s. We have a whole fleet of these trucks, whole fleet of this equipment, and we're getting it at while we're excited to get it, the prices that we're getting the equipment are decent enough that you're gonna be acquiring it. It's not the best equipment out there, but for the purposes that we need it for, they'll suffice. I'm gonna get as many of these 988s as I possibly can, which it's not all for this facility, it's for the other facilities.
How's the equipment on them? I mean, like, simple stuff like hoses and everything.
It's,
Couplers come in and.
There's a lot of work, I mean, let's not kid each other. This stuff sits around for 3-4 years, it hasn't been used. So we practically replace every seal, every hose, every fuel pump has to be replaced. What worries me is come May 10th, we're gonna be using 2 of these machines full-time, 24/7. That's why I bought 2 of them, because no doubt it's gonna break down. And now I'm in the contract, when the contract breaks down, I pay for it, which is not a good thing.
The mechanic.
Yeah, the mechanics will be mighty busy, so I've been driving the mechanic crazy, basically.
What are we paying for them on the average?
$7,000.
$6,000-7,000 a piece, I can't even buy tires for them.
Yeah.
I mean, and I put another $6,000-7,000 into them. What I like about them, they're military grade, they're meant to go on inclines, they're meant to go on the roads we're gonna use them on. So there are, they're not as precise as I like them to be. And the group of trainers is gonna find that out next Saturday. They have no idea what they're getting into. Because they're meant for the average, for the Army. But they are more powerful than they need to be in terms of grade. But they're sloppier. I mean, they're sloppy in terms of controls, because where they have to work in regular terrain and so on and so forth. You know, we're having trouble with fuel pumps, we're having trouble with hydraulic lines. We're gonna get that. Trouble with some of the electrical circuitry. This stuff hasn't worked in years. The good thing is, this motors, these engines don't have any hours on them.
Yeah.
I mean, we're only bid on some decent stuff. I mean, we have acquired some decent stuff. And the lower I can acquire it, the more competitive I can be. I get beaten up daily by these vendors. And the chairman has witnessed it. He said, I mean, I took a beating the other day, I don't think anybody in this room appreciates how beaten up I get. It's not good enough, you know, I get temper tantrums, the whole 9 yards. I mean, people walk out of the room, you know.
He was 3 inches taller when he came in.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, but that's my job, you know, till I get sick of it, and then I'll move on somewhere else. But it's a tough industry out there. If they can get it from somebody, they will get it from somebody. Consequently, I also dish it out. I'm not shy. And he has witnessed some of that as well, because it's a two-way street. It's nobody, there is no gifts out there. People expect value. And if he can provide it, somebody up the street will. And frankly, we're gonna get some competition, I'll tell you that. And it's, what we can do, yeah, we're a little bit more expensive, we provide additional value. That's what we discussed amongst ourselves. Yeah, we know what the stuff is, we're there for you. We're not some idiot up the street who hires people $12 an hour and drops stuff all over the place. You get value here. And that's what we do, drive into the spend. You get value. And people will pay for a certain amount of value. To your point about Novellis, I'm trying to bring additional business from Novellis. There's going to be a meeting here tomorrow. Right? Again, all value oriented. You want to negotiate with somebody tough? Deal with the Indians in Novellis. Super tough. I mean, but value. And I never say never. I'll handle it. I'll figure out how. If I have to put in a G code, I'll handle it. I mean, I never say never. I'll get it in here somehow. Value. What can you do for me that I cannot get somewhere else? And so it's very competitive. I mean, very, very competitive. We've been busy. We've been busy with aluminum. We had a busy year. We have been very busy with the grain. I'll tell you, we're all sitting here well. Tell you, even without them, we have done rather well. We have some good crews. We have done some rather well. I mean, the guy, the crazy blue shirt in the back here, and the other guy in the blue shirt, they have done rather well. We have some good teams here. And they do awfully well. And the customers are demanding it. You'll see it in the proposal. I mentioned to you last time, the Purdue agreement. Specific performance requirements on us. You don't perform, you get penalized. They may all laugh on the perimeter, but if you don't do well, they don't do well. I mean, it's that serious. But to that extent, you'll see some new equipment coming in next month, new unloaders. You'll see a lot of activity coming here next month. I mean, there's a reason I'm sweating here today. I mean, I've been back and forth to Syracuse, back and forth to a lot of different areas. There's a lot of negotiations to be done. Nothing is easy. Nothing is easy. Nobody comes here because it gives you anything for value. There's some negotiations to see a sex to be done this Friday. There's some negotiations to be done with Vermont Railway Systems. I cannot sit in my office and the business will come to me. I'll have a very lonely time. I might as well order a lot of soda because they don't come here because they want to come here. Yeah, you gotta go out there and get it. And that's what I've been doing lately. So, but come to a certain extent, busy summer, come May 10th, the rock project is starting. While that's starting, record year in aluminum, while that's starting, record year in grain. Mighty busy, we're gonna have the opposite problem. We're gonna be arguing with each other all the time, which is a good problem. And while that's all going on, we're also repairing the tracks and doing the other contractual work that we not finished last year. And while that's all that's not enough, you all know I've been to Amsterdam. And the chairman has some benefits on emails. And if I can get some concessions from the labor, we may have a container service this summer. Found some cargo that I was able to get, and it looks very promising. So it's all very, very positive news. But all has to make sense, all the numbers have to make sense, or they'll go elsewhere. It comes to that. To that event, I touched upon a lot of these. The chairman and I spent a lot of time working with our other project in Syracuse. We have met with the towns. Today I spent over 6 hours up there. We have met with the one particular town that we met with. Yeah, I can tell the chairman was sporting the right type of a facial.
Town supervisor had a little beard.
Yeah, so
We went to the same college.
yeah, so he
Boxing was like that.
did rather well. I'm extremely proud of him because they talked about stuff I didn't understand, but whatever it was, the outcome was very positive as a project. So we have been clearing some of these hurdles. That tape is on, so I'm not going to say anything else, but there's some other movement afoot. The money that we have is just the beginning. I can tell you there's a lot more money coming. And it's that 40 is going to be nothing compared to where I think this project is going to end up at. In fact, we were in a meeting, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm applying for another $90 million grant, and I'm applying for some additional money. By the time it's done, I'm thinking close to $250 million. But that's a lot of money to be spent. But we're going to be held to a standard, and guess who gets the notion to stand on the line? And guess what the pressure is on? To perform. It's on me. So it's been very positive. I mean, I've been sharing certain correspondence from the Germans, from the Dutch. It's all performance oriented. We as workers do not get to choose when the ship comes in. We have a certain amount of time. It comes in, it goes out. Whether or not you do the work decides whether or not everything comes back. All the ships are on a schedule. Ships cost on the average $45,000 to $50,000 a day, plus crew. There's no room for error. There's a lot of money. Each box, on the average, costs about $2,500 to be transported. There isn't a lot of money into it, but you make it up in volume. It's very volume-driven business. And then it's destination-driven business. I can tell you Purdue is one of the key attractions to this whole entity. And they're very much attracted to their exporting. The fact that Purdue has a certain amount of grain. New York State grain is very desirous. is the right type of grain, right type of oils. There's certain chemical in there that they look for, which I'm not certain what it is, you probably know. But it's very desirable in third world countries.
Palm oil.
Yeah, they have a different name for it, some sort of scientific name, is like, looks impressive to me, but
Palm oil.
yeah, that's what it boils down to, right?
It's in everything.
They want it certified, it has to be USDA certified. We're talking to a school right now, you all know that, we're talking to a school right now. It doesn't do us any good that we certified, it has to be school certified, USDA certified, and then it's worth X amount of dollars. And we'll be exporting to Africa.
How was our exporting process coming?
Well, not,
They had to go through.
at the college,
The what?
I'm sorry, the college will be certifying it.
Right, no,
He said, how's it coming? How's that?
the exporting,
It's,
the allowance to export.
I'll be in Albany, as a matter of fact, tomorrow, discussing some of that. The process itself is fine,
Wasn't that going through Schumer's office?
yeah. Well, Schumer has some work to do, I mean.
So we're not there yet.
We're there as far as process, we're not there as far as this thing called Hamilton's,
Okay.
which means dollars. And we'll be there as far as process. But we need to have students down there, we need PhDs basically to certify the grain, otherwise the grain is not worth as much. So,
Jen's PhD.
With all due
This is-
respect, John, he doesn't know anything about grains.
Got PhD, got the other.
well, we need doctors, we need somebody who can certify that it meets certain criteria, meets certain things. I mean, the fact that we certify means absolutely nothing. And it's gotta be, and you know, when I can get it, it's a certain doctorate. And then you have this,
USDA.
yeah, Dr. Contento,
Yeah.
the guy's fabulous, the guy's a brilliant mind. I mean, and for us to expand a USDA facility here is huge. And that'll also do us well in the other facility as well. So,
I would just add to that, just point out that Governor Cuomo was in Cuba,
yes.
talking about some agricultural products that might be of interest to the Cuban people. That can't hurt us at all either.
It's very, very positive. I mean, it's,
I was thinking that.
he's the first
We don't grow much tobacco around here.
Can import it.
You could have Juan Gonzalez come up with about a ton of tobacco and grow your own cigars for you up there.
Yeah,
Cuban cigars.
I've been to Cuba. That's as an American, my other passport, and I guess I'm not very fascinated by it, but it's a country that's very deprived. It needs all the basics. I mean, the guy.
I've been to Cuba too, as an American, 54 and 55.
Yeah, well, it's
How about that tough?
different, yeah. What else do I have to, I'm gonna talk to you about Hammer Mill. Hammer Mill loan proceedings are going on. We've been sharing a lot of information with our counselors. Hammer Mill has been before the Pathfinder Board last night for a loan. I don't know the outcome. I attempted to find out the outcome before today. I wasn't able to secure it. In the meantime, while that's going on, I'm negotiating with a power company. You think that's why I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning? I have no time. That's why I have no life.
I get to
I'm negotiating with a power company that's gonna provide power on the island. There's an island. Yeah, there's an island out there, and we're talking about potential sale of certain components of that Hammer Mill property. If the Hammer Mill deal goes through, that's something I'll just, it'll go with the sale, I'm not interested in it. But there's lots of positive attributes going on. What else do I want to talk about? Aluminum deals, I told you before, and I want to underscore it again. We have cut some major deals with Goldman, we have cut some major deals with some other entities. We're giving them incentives. And we're going to be talking to somebody else in the room about some other incentives. Incentives that are coming out of our pocket to get more volume in here. So we'll see if they work. They told me they will put more volume, they give me their word, but that means, now it's going to be a contract, we'll see what happens. So anybody that's over 50,000 metric tons will be getting an incentive. So I want volume, I want big players. So we'll see what happens. Price chopper lot is going through this process. They had an engineer look at the building and so on and so forth, that's going well.
Moving forward.
Moving forward. Container business, I mean, it's been wildly successful. They're coming, it's to the point they're actually coming to me. I'll show you something later on, we have some decisions to make. I was up there today, looking at some property, I need some advice from you all, what the next steps are, and I'll show you some of the things we discussed today.
What's that?
The lot, the area that we control in Syracuse, all right? And I'll tell you one other thing, I just gotta be careful what I say where I don't say, it's not an executive session.
This is an executive session.
Yeah, it's an executive session, yeah, because we potentially can go a little more. And, yeah, we'll talk about it a bit more. Yeah, whether or not you want it, if you don't want it, just tell me, I'll back off. And we can do other things. Pressure for the container business and doing deals. The chairman knows I did hire some consultants on staff. I cannot do this alone. It's getting to a point where I'm really overwhelmed. I did hire some folks that I am very familiar with, and they'll potentially bring some other business for me. It's Walmart Logistics. I mentioned it to you the last time. Nothing I didn't do, but I've been involved in it more and more, helping design some of the terminals. There's a lot of money to be spent very fast. You need to have some experts here who know what's going on. There's ways to design the terminal. When you design the terminal, you have to design it now for the biggest volume and then break it down in stages. Because we don't want to do this twice. The infrastructure when you design is cheapest up front. So we're designing for the biggest volume, whatever the volume is.
And then do it section by
And
section.
then we'll stage it according to it. So I have to have, and the consultant's job, I tell you, the toughest job of all this money is gonna come down to politics. We'll get everything done up here, we'll get all these things designed. It's whether or not New York, and I say New York, we are New York City, whether or not CSX is gonna let us into that terminal.
Are they just gonna throw us a bone, or are we actually gonna have some sort of arrangement that
It's gonna
we
be a,
take overflow?
no, it's gonna be a fight. I mean, it's not gonna be, nobody's gonna give you the business.
No
It's gonna be- Yeah, I mean,
No.
it's gonna be no gimmicks. I mean, it's gonna take, it's gonna take some serious negotiations. It's gonna take us going down there, and I'll tell you right now, it's gonna take intervention.
Don't they get a lot of stuff that goes to the Midwest anyway, we could fight over?
Yeah, but logic does not prevail. I mean, you have people who are very used to doing their business their way, and.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, just the fact I'm there to help get some business out of there, they're not interested. So, it's railroads are not the easiest companies to negotiate with.
We have to put on our long pants to talk to them.
Yeah, I'm not sure, yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later on, I mean, I'll be more specific.
I
It's,
got a couple of things,
I do want to mention one
I'm
thing,
sorry.
and I'm sorry, and we've been talking about it. I think it's time, and the chairman and I are going to pick some, I have some dates on here, possibly May 11th to May 15th. We all have to go down, and you all have to see what the demo looks like. You all have to see what you're getting yourself into. And I propose that I go down there very often. I tell you, it's not an easy trip. The mayor and I made it. The chairman and I made it a couple of times. It's not easy. It wears on you. It takes you, I don't care how fast you are, and I'm some good driving. You can't control traffic. I mean, it may take you 10 hours just in road time. So we're gonna fly you down there. You gotta see what we're getting ourselves into. It's nothing horrific, but you gotta see the complexity. And the last thing I'll tell you is, I have a meeting. The white car downstairs knows how to go to all the way by itself. I think it's just press the button and goes. I have a meeting May 6th. There's going to be some major discussion of what the sport is going to look like. May 6th. May 6th is a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah, May 6th is a Wednesday. I'm having it on Wednesday. I'm meeting with the lumber industry on May 7th.
The 11th to the 15th was
It's something that we have to do with the attorney. And Dan, I'll tell you, I know all of these guys in the back love rumors. I'm getting back to Europe, see if I can get that deal done on containers. It takes, and I hope you're all sophisticated enough and smart enough to understand, it takes more than one meeting, particularly the Europeans. You don't meet the European once, and you cut a deal. There's no such thing. It's knowledge, whether or not you know what you're doing, whether or not there's a lot of testing. I didn't even leave Antwerp. He already checked some of my claims, right? And there was even instances, and I found out from New York City. I was talking to another potential customer. He was back checking whether or not this guy's for real. Does he have the equipment? They told it's a lot of equipment. It's a lot of goods that he's providing you. He's trusting you that you're going to do as you say. Talk is cheap. You got to deliver. He's got a lot of risk. That ship alone is just $50,000 plus the cargo that's on it. It's a lot of money. There's a lot of trust. It's going to take more than one meeting. It's going to take more than 2 meetings. We hit it off to a certain extent. I didn't do any business with this particular gentleman in my past lives, but there's one associate from Germany I did do some business with, and he kind of corroborates everything that he said. A lot of corroboration, a lot of checking, a lot of equipment, very capital intense. Containers are not something you get into because you make a lot of money. Us doing 60 containers an hour, we won't break even. We're going to work on gang sizes that have use for them, whether or not we want them. I think they're fools if they don't want them, but we've got to get them in here. That's the future. You have now to the point where that grain is going to go into containers. That's how serious it is. And everything's going to containers. Junk is going to containers. Scrap is going to containers. That's how ridiculous it is. I mean, that's how intense this container industry has come. I mean, when I first started, only high value cargo would come to containers. Now, pretty much anything that you can stuff into a box goes into.
And one of the real benefits of the container is once a container is sealed, it's certified, and it can go anywhere in the world, and it's acceptable. It doesn't have to be inspected over and over and over and over every place you go.
But the other thing I'm going to tell you is on the marina update, you all, thank you very much for the, those that have loaded and those that have been in the hospital. But the marina update, we are proceeding up there. As a matter of fact, the work is going on. We have to replace that field dock. I know the financial guru of the table has some questions. All the work is basically insurance work. We have to the replacement the field dock we're replacing, we were paid for it last year. If you recall, the bid was just way too high, it was beyond our control, we couldn't afford to pay for it. The bid was $720,000, and we only received
201.
201,000. So I was looking for $500,000, nobody came up, so we had to. None of you had it. I was looking. Ken had $500,000, but he wasn't a part of it.
Not unless you can park the boat there, right?
You didn't have the money, so now we're looking at something innovative. We're going to do it in-house, and that's the dilemma of this entity. We now have some opportunities. Thank God we have some money now. We need cash. We don't have a lot of cash. The sport has been completely cash. If I had cash, I could do more things. We're finally getting to the point where we're semi-healthy. We're still not there. I cannot make these deals instantly. Cash rules. If you have cash, you can buy more equipment. You can get better deals. Instead of right now, I have them in a position, hold on, let me think about it, let me go get a loan. One other thing I'm going to tell you is that we have, and Scriber has been really busy with this, actually consumed by it. USGS is before us. This is where we talked about this before, and this is the last report item that I have for you, is where they're doing some work over the other side to the tune of $180,000, right? Well, that's all well and good. They expect us to pay for it, and they'll pay us back over time. We did the math, we're shy $20,000. I'm giving U.S. government a loan. Why? I don't understand why this little entity has to give the U.S. government a loan. and get shy in the process. I'm using that word, but that's something we'll use. I'm gonna get some guidance from you in the executive session, whether or not we proceed. We get to the point where we have the bids, we extract as much money from the bids as we can. If you all tell me to proceed, and be shy of $20,000, so be it, and you're on the board. But I would advise against that. I would rather invest that in cargo, I would rather invest that in business. I have some guidance, and then whatever you all decide, I'll move forth. I don't think we are owed, hence you ask about the $39,000, that's part of that. I mean, none of this deal was written, this is something I acquired, and I don't know how to get into this predicament, but I'm trying to get out of it the best I can. Unless they make us whole. They make us whole, we'll do it.
Yeah.
But then I just, you all tell me, if you all be going to loan the US government money, we will, but I have to go out and get it. I inquired of the bank, 3.5%. Because it's on, hey, what a deal, and hand it over to the US government. How am I doing this?
Maybe a change in exchange rate and actually,
Right.
we could, benefit and be worth more.
Yeah. Part of the, I'm glad you mentioned that. Part of the big attraction for the container lines, and that's something I don't think people in the speaker realize, it's the exchange rate. The fact that the euro has fallen, it's actually driving some of the business in here. That's the German companies that big benefactors. They're the majority of the pushing. That's where the deals are, the German entities. So that's something to really handle. Again, it's all good news. I mean, the fact that we're actually training folks on containers this Saturday, that's huge. That's huge. The fact that we're going to be using the equipment in 2 weeks, huge. Potentially in June, again, huge. Is it going to be pretty? No. But it's one of those situations where you have too much business coming in, which is, I never want to say that word, but this year is a particularly busy year. Right? I said a lot because we haven't met a long time. We've been just bits and pieces. But that's what I've been doing for the past month.
Question?
I have just 2 items. In Tico, have they given up on us, or?
Yeah, I'm not losing sleep over it right now. You haven't heard anything? I'm not. I mean, I think I told you the last time. I negotiated a deal with a power company. I went down from 13 points. Good thing she's here tonight. 13 point something cents to 7 cents on the power.
Yeah, about.
Right. 13 cents to 7 cents. I think
we bottomed out because I negotiated the same rate
right,
in my
and
house.
so it's I took the heart of it out. So I don't think him with his solar panels and whatever he wants here. I'd be surprised if he can do better. But I mean, if he can do better, as long as it's not our money, God bless him. I'll listen.
It's in their corner anyway, we worked back, we
Yeah.
haven't heard back from them, so.
I mean, unless you all tell me differently, I've been pursuing the bigger dollar item. You
Oh,
all
no,
tell me, you all
no,
tell me you want to
no,
go
I-
solar, I'll go solar.
I'm just, I'm putting bows on some of those
Right,
things.
yeah.
There's a roller, a machine roller up on the Fitzgibbons property. Do you know?
Yes, that's ours.
That's ours?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure we owned one.
And I'll do a better job explaining it. While all this work is going on, while we're doing the rock
Yeah.
out here, while we're doing a record aluminum, while we're doing record grain, we're also going to be doing some, we're bidding some of the work out there at Fitzgibbons and installing additional track.
Crossings over
Right.
the track and like
If you
that?
go in the back of this warehouse, it's called gauging the track, we spike the track,
Yeah.
we expect the track to be kind of busy. We're looking at all the switches. I mean, this infrastructure has been neglected. I mean, what's his name, the choo-choo building's not here. It's lucky it's working. I mean, and now we're going to invest back into it.
Just a question,
All
I
right.
saw it
Well,
out
it's
there,
a
I
good
didn't
thing,
realize.
it's a good thing, I mean, it's a very positive thing.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you, I'll be very surprised if we don't have to move some aluminum to the other side this year.
good. It's a good place to store it.
Well, it's storing, but again, every time we touch something, it costs us. And then everybody just laughs, it costs. So we try not to touch it too many times. But we may have to, out of sheer need.
That concrete slab up there, quick access to
Yeah.
the street, the whole thing.
But we're designing it such, and there was a whole bunch of engineers a couple of weeks ago through here, who looked at all the switches and everything else. It has to be very efficient, right? Because the guys have to be guys, gals, on they're in and out very quickly,
Yeah.
right? And it has to be safe, right? Right now you have some great elevations there, which I'm not too crazy about, right? And then we have another element out there, it's called the public, right? And that's something I'm really deeply worried about. You know, here they're under surveillance. I have certain contracts. Goldman's has to be under surveillance 24/7.
Right.
You're on surveillance, break a contract, they pull out. Well, it's out there, you have this issue with the kids, frankly. And frankly, that scares me. So that's the last resort. You know, I'll tell you, this stuff will move. There's a guy here, the guy in the corner. He lives and needs to beat his aluminum.
Would be scary to stack it kinda high out there. I can see what you're worried about. Yeah.
I don't care, even 4 slabs, it'll move on you. It'll move on you. And if it falls on somebody, they'll find out who I am very, very rapidly.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm worried about. But we have to do what we have to do. We are probably gonna have to put inside the fenced area. I mean, we have some ideas as to what to do out there. I'm gonna become a very unpopular fellow out there. We're gonna have to burn it.
Okay.
And we're gonna have to enforce our laws. That's not their park. They have a park next door. That's the place we work. We bought that property. We investing in it. We cannot have people walk through our yard. We cannot have people walk through our equipment. This stuff is very dangerous. I mean, this stuff doesn't stop in or down. People can't see out this equipment. I mean, you have some so-called professionals that speed through here like a demon. You need control. You're dealing with people's lives.
Okay.
But it's all good stuff. It's nothing bad. It's just a lot of it happening. And I'll tell you, there's no secret, and Debbie's in the back. And the chairman sees it. We're frankly, we're stressed out. I mean, the staff itself, you can see it in me. It's a lot of work. I mean, there's a lot of work going on, which is a good thing. I mean, well, I think it's a good thing. But a very positive thing. You'll see some purchase amendments. I mean, we have some hindrances. That's why I bother you guys, because I have some hindrances. I gotta be able to make some decisions rather quickly. Because in this business, timing is everything. And we are gonna see us trying to help us on the consultants. We need help. We need help marketing, we need help with lawyers, we need help with, I envision, we're gonna hire a consultant to tell us how to organize. This staff, as you currently see it, cannot do all this business. And frankly, I think last time we discussed, there's more than Syracuse in mind. We're about to change our charter,
Yeah.
which
Agreed.
is good.
Good. Yeah.
It's all done.
Okay,
All right, good.
executive director's report.
That's
Concluded for the moment?
it is. Feel better now?
Get some off his chest, I think so.
Yeah.
I think Terry actually said, I think we were negotiating at one point in time, I was negotiating with the guy doing the rock. And everybody wants to give it to the Port Authority, you know, it's like, we must have the word sucker written in our face, you know? And, you know, basically I was gonna do the deal, I told him what he can do with it. So Terry's in the car, he goes, I think you're enjoying this too much.
As far as the chairman's report is concerned, it was left off the agenda, but it's inserted back onto the agenda, just very, very briefly. I have an article I will be sending to you. It didn't get put in your hands, so I will get this to you. It's a very interesting article. It was recently published in the last few days. talking about the New York, New Jersey, Port of New York, New Jersey, had a record cargo. Oh, you already have it, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know you got it. This is worth reading, because it does call attention to a role that we can play in solving some of the problems that they're alluding to here, which is the stuff that I'm talking about. Quickly, I already sent you information about your filing of your annual filing required. And I got a reply back from Michael, he's already sent in his filing, his disclosure, financial disclosure form. All right, I just wanted to make you all aware, if you haven't forgotten it yet, you haven't till May 15th. Not that far away. And the document I sent you has a copy of the form that you can complete on. All you have to do is just bring it up on the screen and you can type it in and send it. If you need more it's more complicated than just saying it in, you can type it up, save it, and print that off, and then add any attachments you want to add. I want to remind you that we will be in the next month working on the board of directors review, self-evaluation. And starting in our next meeting, I mentioned to you a meeting or two ago that we're going to look at some of these things. I've given you this. Bring these, if you would, at the next meeting. I will remind you before our next meeting. We'll look at some of these, and that includes the addition that I gave you all at our last meeting. Okay. So those are the only things that I have. Those are mainly just reminders. Does the attorney have a
Nothing for this, the executive session,
All right, that gets us to old business, number 3. And first item on old business is confirmation of the request for authorization to perform arena dock repairs. This is exhibit D, if you would think out exhibit D.
Right, I kind of made
Self-referred to.
I kind of made reference, this is what you voted on.
Yeah,
And this is just reaffirming it, and as I get these votes from you, I'll come back to the next board meeting reaffirming. The only one that hasn't quote unquote voted is
Ken?
Ken Stevens, and Ken Stevens had a good excuse.
Ken has had some illness, just so you know.
And, but everybody else answered, and I appreciate you getting back to me, and hopefully, well, this amount of money I'm gonna have to bother you anyway, but hopefully I won't bother you.
Okay, so you saw this, you've already responded to it. We can't really legally vote by email, so this is a resolution we already voted for. This is a confirmation of that. And so this is resolution number, or motion 421-1502, exhibit D. Is there any discussion or question about this? The original low bid for repairing what this is purporting to repair was over $700,000. And Zelco and his staff decided they could do it in-house for these numbers.
Just to make certain, is it 1501 or 1501 is it confirmed?
1502.
So this one here.
1501.
I think that was changed when we first got it, and might have not gotten the update.
So it's 1502, it is correct.
But very good, you reviewed it. Impressive. Good checklist.
So we trust the Shanley Law offices to
Check these things.
check these things out. It is 1502.
It is.
All right. Does anyone have a question? We're able to do in-house, but a low bid said would be $700,000.
And I do want to point out to the chairman, we're not doing it in kind, we're doing a floating dock, this is a permanent dock, but we have to do it in-house, we have no choice right now. I mean, the season's here.
So this is an affirmation of the vote that you already sent in, or your opinion you already sent in by email. Any question on that? Motion's in order then for 1502?
I'll make a motion
Mr. Brown?
that we authorize the marine dock repair for a sum of $42,000.
Yes.
Second.
Mr. Brown, Mr. Smith. Any question? All in favor of this motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously? That was old business. New business. Consideration and approval to increase the authorized spending limit of the executive director without prior board approval from $5,000 to $25,000.
I'll make that motion. It seems that the 5,000 figure's been in place for a number of years. Never kept up with inflation.
In fact, you know what, I want to thank him. I mean, he's the one actually, I was gonna live with it, but he's kind of, he's been actually very supportive, and he has some ideas he'll share with you, and it's, Mr. Schumacher actually recognized some of the things that we're gonna be entering into, and we have to be market active, otherwise we're just gonna stub our toes.
Gives you more bargaining chips, doesn't it?
It's a serious impediment to doing business.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you can buy 4 988s at once instead of just one.
Yeah, right. Give some ideas to Scriber, he'll go out there and get them.
So yes, this is a really realistic number.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
This is
It
a
remains to be seen if it's realistic. It's a
Well,
minimum at
yes.
least.
Yes, but I mean, it's realistic by comparison to $5,000.
Yeah.
I mean, if you time you want to spend more than $5,000, you have to have a board meeting. I mean, that's just.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd like to make the motion 1421, 1503.
All right. Mr. Schumacher, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carried unanimously. Item 5, number 5, request for donations, sponsorships. Review the request for team sponsorship for the United Way Golf Tournament. We've done it in the past. I've told Zelco that we really need to, there are 3 major fundraisers that we should look at. One is the Chamber of Commerce, because we are a member of the Chamber of Commerce. United Way is a major organization that everybody, all of the organizations in town fund. And the third would be a possibility would be the hospital, although they were outlandishly expensive in recent years. And I understand that they're making some changes, and that may change. And so, these are the public tournaments that have a lot of public visibility. And if nothing else, the Port of Oswego Authority is seen by the other organizations, all businesses that are funding the same fundraiser, fund support rate. And so I would argue that we should, those are the 3 that we should look at. Other than that, I don't care about any others. And now the hospital still needs to have something that's acceptable and accessible before we should consider that. But definitely, we would be doing ourselves a disservice by not supporting the Chamber of Commerce and United Way.
You,
So moved.
For 3 or 2? For 3 or 2?
Is 600 the normal fee that we paid before, Jerry?
Yeah.
Did we ever sponsor a hole?
Yes, we did. We've always sponsored a hole in the Chamber and at the United
Are
Way.
we going to sponsor
$100
3
and then
tournaments or 2
$500
tournaments?
So, for public, something like that.
Oh, this is the United Way. Terry, is this to cover more than one or just
Just
one?
one team.
Just one team?
They're the only one that's come out and advertised already. I haven't seen anything from the chamber
Chamber
yet,
of the-
or the hospital. So when they come out, then they kind of.
So if we have 3, everybody gets a chance to play if they want to.
Whoever wants to play.
Yeah.
it's all,
We tried to do it, we tried to make it from the board itself.
Yeah.
So far, we've never had more than a couple of people who want to play. Well, then we've had other people, we've had some sponsors play. We had
customers.
customers. We've had some customers, CNS, for example.
I'll bet Dave Nicholas here could probably hit the ball real good on the wrong side.
Close your eyes and I'll.
So far from this board, Tom's played, Mike's played,
I can't play anymore.
Jerry played, Kurt's played, I played. So we can usually find four that can get together on the same day.
Kirk can hit it, man.
Not straight, but yeah.
It's heavy.
I think I'd like to try it this year, if you know, if you need it for it.
I'm looking for a second in this.
Yeah. I fourth that.
So,
I'll second.
actually, this just affirms to the.
It's well within my limits. I just want it to have a policy that.
How are you gonna play with a shoulder like you got?
I'll try.
The other thing is, Zelko just got a brandy center. He hasn't
Thing
yet
on the
played.
back, so.
I yield to the board members.
I second it. He's,
Motion's been made, seconded to fund the United Way, what is it, this we go, that would be for a team and a sponsor hole. Yeah, well, we can,
I have not.
we can cross that bridge. If
Yeah.
we have, if we have 6 people who wanna play, we can put in 2
Just put on.
Yeah.
And that's what they was out for,
Five twenty-seven.
sponsorship, I mean, he's a good idea.
527.
Okay.
Oh, no, good to find.
Motion's been made, that we sponsor at least one team and,
Oh, yeah. I can't.
motion was made by
Ken seconded.
Ken, Mike Carroll, Ken Stevens. Any discussion? You want to sponsor 2 teams? If necessary, we can't get 2 teams.
If we can, if we have enough
All
people.
right, if there's enough interest, you want to make it 2 teams?
That's fine.
If there's enough interest.
Yeah, now just do one.
If nothing else, we can compete among ourselves.
yeah. Considering the work we do here, this is a nice,
It's a nice day.
If it's a nice day, if it's raining, you may not be that happy.
I think it did rain, didn't it?
there's always the clubhouse.
Okay, 2 teams, any objection to 2 teams? Huh?
Jenny?
A caddy? Well,
You don't carry the carts.
Actually, United Way has 2 sessions, there's a morning and an afternoon, they have so many people. It's the biggest tournament, I think, in the county.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. We'll be putting together at least 1 team and hopefully 2. Okay. Satisfactory?
I'll do everything. Regardless.
How about coming in, maybe be 500?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yes.
We usually don't win.
Item 6, I don't think there's anything else before, we need to go move back into executive session, let's see. Sorry. We need to, under new business, move into executive session for the real property transactions and some related matters.
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session.
second that.
All in favor of moving into executive session?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, we are now in executive session.
I'd like to thank you for.
Motion's in order to move back into the regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Got it? You got it? Mr. Hopes? Mr. Smith? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Are there any other items come before the body? Motion's in order for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Carroll, Mr. Gilman. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Lady and gentlemen.
Mike, did you quit reading your handwriting before you get your assistant tonight?
You got it.
That's what it was.